Hello, welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about how much does getting into elite college matter? Because there's some statistics out there that will say it matters quite a bit. And there's some other data that maybe not so much. We'll look at all that, talk about that in this video. Stay tuned to the very end. For this video, we really want to talk about what the data is really showing about elite colleges and income earnings so we can understand that. Want to look at prestige versus long-term success, how your mindset plays into long-term success versus the college that you come from. Then we're going to look at a real-life story to show you an example of somebody who did exceptionally well without getting into elite college and what you need to do to become that outlier. All those things, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. 2022, according to pay scale, the average income for somebody who's mid-career, graduated from elite college, like an Ivy League school, it's over $161,000 a year. That's more, significantly more, than the average pay of somebody in their mid-career from other colleges. So on average, Ivy League or elite college, they earn considerably more. However, another study that was done in 2022 showed when you control for ability, it's actually about the same. What does that mean? That means when they look at somebody's ability, however they are measuring that through tests, some sort of testing or academic standing, that when they control that person who has the same ability that went to a local university as somebody who went to an Ivy League, that the income's the same. What they're saying is that it's your ability that matters, not the school you go to. So somebody may have decided they didn't want to spend all the money to go to an Ivy League. Maybe they didn't think they could get in, but they were smart enough to, right? They had the ability to. They just chose not to. They're still going to earn the same amount somebody goes to an Ivy League or an elite college. What that study saying is that it doesn't really matter. What matters is your ability. So it's important to kind of understand that and realize that. And there's enough stories out there to give that its validity. Now let's look at this idea between prestige and long-term success. Right? There's a Georgetown University study that showed that the top 25% earners of non-elite schools, not highly selective schools, actually out-earn the bottom 25% of elite schools. When you kind of break this down, you want to visualize, you want to kind of think of this, the bell curve, that classic bell curve, right? And those bell curves between an Ivy League or elite, highly selective college and those of non-selective college, there's overlap in there. So while on average, that Ivy League school or the elite, highly selective school, those people graduating from that earn more than the average person of others. When you are at the bottom tail of those who go and graduate, or the high end of the others, is that where those two bell curves overlap, those on the outlier side of the averages are going to out-earn those of the outlier on the negative side of the elite, which should beg some questions there, right? Like, how do you get there? When you think about that previous study about when you control for ability level, there's no difference. Now we got to begin to ask ourselves, all right, what does the elite colleges do for me that maybe the other ones don't? If it's not ability, right? Like, it's not that degree that necessarily do anything if I have the same ability. And if I really have a high-end ability, but I choose a different college, there's still a good chance I might outperform the bottom end of the people who go to the Ivy League. So you really want to begin to break down what it is that Ivy League might give you that the other school wouldn't for the price. right? You want to begin to maybe ask those questions. And one of the things it might do for you is open doors that wouldn't otherwise be open because you are from an elite school. That does not mean that those doors get open and you walk through them and you're automatically going to be successful. This is where this whole idea of mindset's going to come in. So what I really want to kind of put forward here is that mindset aspect, right? Again, it's going to be your beliefs that are going to drive your attitude, your ability to manage the emotions, your ability to stick through, learn lessons, get up after life knocks you down, all those kind of things that matter in the work world, right? They matter in everything you do. They are actually going to drive your ability to quite an extent as well. That's going to matter more in the long run than where you got your degree from, right? If you have the right mindset and you graduated from elite school, yes, you're going to do very well. If you have that same kind of mindset and you graduate from a non-elite school or not a very highly selected school, you're still going to do very well. In fact, you may even outperform those people from an Ivy League. It's very possible. Right? It's going to be that mindset that you develop that's going to be the biggest factor in your long-term success, regardless of whether you go to an elite school or not, right? The real question is what you do with the education that you are getting at whatever school you go to, right? How you take advantage of that. There's a whole lot of examples and stories of ones who went to a non-select school who did incredibly well. Example is a good friend of mine, Dr. Ray Stevens. Dr. Ray Stevens was essentially an average high school student who ended up going to the local university. He thought he was going to probably major in computer science because back at the time, oh yeah, we get into computer science, becoming a computer program, that's where you're going to get the good money, the good jobs. So he goes to the local university and he's an average student. In fact, he does fall in love with science there. He decides rather than computers, he's going to major in chemistry. But he fails organic chemistry, which is one of the foundation ones that he has to take, not once, but a second time. Second time is his senior year, when he had already been accepted into graduate school, and he failed organic chemistry for the second time. And he's going to be going to graduate school to work on his PhD in chemistry. Well, his advisor works it out. He's got to take organic chemistry again during the summer. He passes it, goes on to graduate school, gets his PhD in chemistry in 3.5 years, goes on to work for Nobel laureate after that at Harvard, goes on, gets a job at UC Berkeley, goes to Scripps Institute, USC, starts 5 different drug companies, sold one of them. Right now he's a CEO of one of the drug companies he started, but the one he built up before that, he co-founded. He sold that for $7.2 billion. That is tremendous success for somebody who just graduated from a local university. A lot more successful than the vast majority of people who go to an Ivy League. But that's the potential for anybody. What you should be doing right now is working on your mindset, working on those beliefs that are going to be beliefs that drive you no matter what avenue you chase. If you want to follow your passions and the things that really make you happy, right, you want to figure out, all right, how am I going to do that and earn the kind of money that I want to make and can make to take care of my family and do the things I want to do, while also understanding that money isn't the entire judgment of how successful you are, right? All of us want to have enough money so we can enjoy life to a certain extent, but doesn't necessarily mean that we all need to be billionaires, right? Some of us wouldn't ever want that because we wouldn't necessarily want the the fame that comes with that. So you want to be able to follow your passion, something that you can do and find success in that, earn money so that you aren't poor. But to do that and be successful long term, it's going to be all about your mindset, because that's how you're going to maximize the education that you get, the training you get. That's how you're going to seek out more specific training. That's how you're going to think outside the box. It's how you're going to look and solve problems. It's how you're going to figure out how you can take your skill, the things you like most, and serve the most people. Because the more people you can serve, the more money you'll make and the happier you'll be, right? The relationships that you found in doing all this are going to be the number one guiding factor in how happy that you become in your life. All of those things ultimately are going to be your mindset. That's what you need to start training and shaping and pursuing now. Well, as we come to the end of this video, again, please consider subscribing to my channel. Check out the other videos. In particular, you might want to check out the video, How Can Low Income People Get into College, for a lot more than just people with low income. So check that video out today and come back and see us in another.